Please keep in mind that these meetings are, council live streamed. And is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? None. Public hearings, none. Delegations, none. Question period. None. Will proceed to the consent agenda.
Part one of the consent agenda, moved by Councillor Ron Newcastle, seconded by Councillor Ray Dufour. Be resolved that items A1 to F5 inclusive, contained in part one consent agenda, be adopted.
In the A section, is there any questions or comments? None. In the B section, any questions or comments? Councillor?
Question to the chair of the
Yep.
community service. The regulations, legislation regarding sidewalk plowing, could you just give us a brief on that?
I actually asked for that to be on the agenda, just to question a few, just to get some clarification on a few places that we plow that I wondered about. The province is going to be bringing out, and this fall, I anticipate, standards for doing sidewalks. So that's, this will come back to council on, no doubt.
Councillor Ron?
So what we're looking at, Bob, is there may not be any difference in what we're already doing.
No, there may not,
Oh,
but
okay.
there's no
That's
hint.
what I assumed.
Yeah, so just,
Okay.
we'll know in the fall.
Any other questions or comments? None. Under the D section, questions or comments? None. Under the E section, any questions or comments? None. Under the F section, questions or comments? None. You've heard the motion. It's, all in favor? Carried.
Part two, the regular agenda. G1, moved by Councillor Stuart Mickelham, seconded by Councillor Ron Dupussy. Be it resolved that option 2 of the waste collection proposal be implemented with our service provider.
Questions or comments? Councillor Ron?
I read this over a few times, and I realized that when we had discussed it here a few weeks ago, and I think the minutes we got back from the meetings that our staff had had with the provider, he said there wasn't a whole lot he could do, because I mean, the main part is his people and his vehicles and the time they're out there. And I see they came back with a clear bag proposal of 2 bags from 4. And I'm looking at the potential savings, and it's like $7,000, which is 6 cents a week per household, $3 a year per household. And as far as I'm concerned, to go from 4 bags to 2 bags, I know the province is looking at getting rid of waste out of the stream, but I also see that in the interim, we're gonna end up, we already have a problem with people throwing stuff in the bush and off roads, and I pick it up on my route all the time, that lawn site that going to the Black Creek Fishing Pier is always a mess that the town has to go out. It probably costs us more cleaning that up than what the savings are here. And when I looked at it, I said, you know, to go from 4 bags to 2, to save a household 6 cents a week is what it works out to. I can't support that. I know there isn't a whole lot of room for this person, but I think maybe what we need to do is start educating people in the community and keep striving towards that. I don't know if it'd be through our office or the economic development we have, but where they gotta start recycling more and more. But just to cut it off like this, I think we're only gonna end up with more stuff ending up on the sides of roads and more cleanup. And the amount of savings, I don't think is gonna justify that in my mind.
Councillor Stewart?
Yeah, thank you. I don't disagree with the education, however, I think the education should come with the fact that we have to be environmentally conscious and move forward with a progressive landfill proposal. The Ontario system of landfill sites is archaic, it's inappropriate, it doesn't do anything for the environment. The fact that we can have an opportunity here to change that, I'm completely in favor of it. I have no control over what people do or do not do in the bush. That's up to them, that's their own conscience. But this is pro-environment action, so I support this.
Councillor Buck.
Yeah, so I'm gonna support it too. Look, look at 50% of residents are only using 2 bags a week or less anyway. The Waste Free Ontario Act that's coming is going to be very onerous, and this is gonna be forced on us. The clear bag policy, this is gonna be forced on us. Every community that has implemented the clear bag policy, even with the reduction in bags, have instantly received a increase in recycling. Kawartha Lakes was the one I caught my eye. They changed in January. They had a 20% increase in recycling in the same month. The average across for the communities that have changed is a 10% increase in recycling. If we increase recycling, we of course increase our funding from the government, so there's more than just the $7,000 saving, and I'll take $7,000 anytime as well. But the Waste Free Ontario is going to be very onerous. There's some bad things coming here they're going to be very expensive. Obviously this is weekly, this is going to control the bear problem as bad as it might be at sometimes. And the business, the recycle pickup doesn't change, the business doesn't change, they get the same amounts. And I do have a couple of questions on the contract, but I'll wait until, I'll ask them now. Is there an intention to have to set up a tag system in case residents do have more than 2 bags?
We have talked about that, yeah, so I mean, the details will still have to be worked out.
Yeah.
But I would expect.
Yeah, that's fine, because that's what most do. One thing too to mention is that there's not going to be, the Waste Free Ontario Act's not going to allow leaves and grass cuttings. So, that'll come into play in another motion later tonight. And the contract includes, does the contract include the renewal option? He doesn't mention it.
Yeah, they generally do, we generally do.
Yeah, okay.
So this is just an outline of the terms. And
I know that, yeah, back in the beginning, we didn't want more than 5 years, but we wanted a renewal because of the Waste Free Ontario Act. And many communities, if not most, with the clear bag system, they allow 1 privacy bag per clear bag, and he's indicated 1 privacy bag per collection in the week. And I can't see why he would not be willing to make that 1 privacy bag per clear bag each week. It might even be a typo on his part. It's not going to change anything. Thank you.
Councillor Kent.
I was wondering what this waste management study was. Who took that and who found out that there was so much going into the dump that was recyclable? When was that done? Do you know, Paula? And who did it?
Cynthia, can you?
Oh,
Yeah, so,
Sorry.
so the Public Works Department did that. I think there was one, it was a couple of years ago that we did it, and then we updated it just, over the past 6 months or so, and, yeah, so it was Public Works under, the director, manager of Public Works oversees that.
okay, thanks. It's a good idea. We have to do that. If it's going to be legislated, we don't have much choice.
Yes.
One of the problems, there's 2 things that answered my concerns here was the privacy bags, as Bob alluded to. Also, you're allowed 2 bags, 40 pounds. One of the problems is sometimes seniors will put out 3 or 4 bags, but they're only 20 pounds each.
Yeah.
40 pounds is quite a bit,
Yes.
and that's a concern of mine, but that's the way it is. We can also go down to 3 bags, but I don't know what the guys collecting are going to say it's 20 pounds or 30 pounds. But unfortunately, we're not. It's not there yet. They're claiming it may happen at the end of this year or beginning next year, but who knows?
Councillor Bill.
The other thing coming down the pike is that we're gonna, residents are gonna end up, this from legislation, are gonna have to take food out of the waste stream as well. So that's coming at us as well. So this is just the start of other things that we're gonna have to face as a community because of legislation.
Well, I'm understanding also that there'll be 3 containers at the roadside. You'll have a container for the wet product and a container for the recyclables and so on. So as Bob has mentioned, it's going to become quite onerous. Councillor Bob.
Yeah, just one thing or two on the education. I watched over the years, Espanola and many communities spend a lot of money trying to educate people, and it's still, yeah, but this report here is still got 12% of people don't recycle, and anybody walking down the street can tell people aren't recycling on garbage day. You can tell just listening to the bags get tossed in. The province has a toolkit, they call, that I looked through on how to implement this program, and it's actually looks quite a good system to follow, and it does not suggest that you do a hard start, but rather a soft start with educating, with teaching people and letting them make mistakes. And that goes on for a fair length of time, can go up to as much as 6 months, till people get educated in this, get rid of their supply of dark bags, and get used to the system. And nobody gets penalized in that soft startup if they happen to throw yesterday's newspaper in the thing. And there's provisions in the thing, like if you've cleaned your fish and you have newspaper, you can put that in the clear bag. You're not going to be penalized for it. That's not going to be, that's allowed. No, thank you.
Councillor Ray.
Yeah, I don't think we should be jumping to conclusions until they actually come up with these rules. I mean, they haven't implemented anything. I don't know why we're thinking that's going to be the law in a short while. One thing to just come back in where Councillor Duplessis left off with the price, like $6,700 versus 2 clear bags, 40 pounds. Your garbage cans become bins now. So I mean, it doesn't matter how much, you're only going to take 2 out of that bin, garbage can. And for those, because an average is 2 bags, that's an average. That's not what everybody throws out. That's what but the average is 2. So some could be 3, 4, 1, or it's 1, you know what I mean? So that's the average. What's going to happen with the remainder of that garbage? That's what I'm concerned about. If it doesn't end up on the roads going towards Panache, then it's going to stay in town and it's going to smell. And we're going to have bears coming in, rodents of every type, coons. I mean, yeah, it's nice to go forward with a thought, and hopefully we can do that at some point. But right now, as Councillor Duplessis said, it would be nice to educate our public. Perhaps we can get that 12% to do more in regards to recycling. Yeah, your clear plastic, your cardboards, whatever have you. But I mean, the government's coming upon us pretty heavy there. Pretty soon they're going to give us carbon tax, everything else. I feel our people are in dire straits already, and they can use all the help they can get. So for us to turn to that, I would say maybe we should think about it very, very closely before we do that.
Councillor Bob.
Okay, well, I did look at a number of communities that have the clear bag system. None of them have a problem, or at least anything that's reported, and I'm sure it would be, with excess bears. Nothing is mentioned about excess garbage being tossed around. Nothing about rodents being around. The program works. It's not just in Ontario. And I have to say, the Waste Free Ontario Act, the government is signaling, and it's a majority government, exactly what it's going to be in it. They're not hiding they're not leaving anything to guess. If you read the AMO communications, this is coming. And it's going to affect us, and we may as well be in front of it, because scrambling to get on the bandwagon is not going to be the good thing. It is, and like I say, if I can save $6,700, and we will see an increase in revenue from recycling, then we're going to be ahead of the game. and ready for the next major thing that happens to us. So, anyway, I'm done. Thanks.
Councilor Bill.
Could we adjust this resolution a little bit to ensure that we have a good phase-in? And maybe we want to go from 4 bags to 3, with a target to go to 2, okay? And as Bob was saying, there are many communities that have a phase-in.
Soft start.
And that way, if people know it's coming and it's not such a big change, but for many people, it isn't going to be that big a change anyway if they have been recycling.
Councilor Kane.
I have the same thought as Bill. I don't know about the large families. What 2 bags will do, I know 80 pounds a week seems like a lot, but I don't know about a large family. They may need 3, and it might not, it may be garbage. So we should be concerned about our
Yeah.
citizens.
Well, I think Bob was right a minute ago mentioning that you can tell that there are people that aren't recycling, they're throwing everything in the garbage. So their container,
I'm not talking about that though.
I
I'm
know,
talking
yeah.
garbage.
okay,
Because say, for instance, a lot of us might throw 1 bag a week.
yeah.
And there's a big family over there and they'll ask, can they put a bag on yours? They do that now, and we have 4 bags. I mean, that's, a lot of that is maybe leaves and the grass. But what about our concerns about the large families that have 3 bags a week?
You're right, you're right.
What are they gonna do with that when they have 3 bags and they have an extra bag they can't throw out, and the next week they have 2 extra bags? Where's that go? So nothing's wrong with phasing. Bill's right.
Done yet?
Councilor Bob.
That's where the tag system comes in. They can buy extra tags. But if people make an effort, you're gonna find out that most cases.
Well, I understand, it's an education.
Yeah, and no, I mean, they can buy a tag for an extra bag.
I understand.
And then one of the things in the toolkit that they provide, the province provides, is one of the suggestions is not to try that type of phase in. It gets too confusing for people. It lengthens the thing out. It's going to happen, but they seem to be like, Kawartha Lakes, for example, took 6 months. Seems to be to do 6 months to get people into the program. It's not, so if a guy makes a mistake and he's got 3 bags out, that's fine, as long as they're clear bags. And even if they're not, because for that 6 months, you don't have to use clear bags. You can just, they will take the 3rd bag. It's not the end of the world. So nobody's going to get penalized through the period. But we may as well be on top of it, because the province is they're definitely signaling what's going to happen here. So.
Councilor Kane.
I think we are talking about being on top of it, we're talking about an extra bag. Now, we do pay for that, the taxpayers, now, say it won't be an extra cost, it'll be an extra cost for a person to get a tag, put a bag on. There's nothing wrong with the phasing, we don't have to confuse the issue, but we can go a certain time with 3 bags in that education period and go down to 2 bags. We're not, gonna change the world in a day.
But that's what I'm saying. Your phase-in period allows for the person who forgets and puts out 3 bags. That's not the end of the world.
So
That's the suggestion from them, if you follow the toolkit. I mean, I went through the whole thing.
Well,
It's
it's
quite-
not in here, so I don't
that's
see.
reasonable.
Yeah.
In my mind, that's reasonable there too, okay, if you end up with an extra bag during the phase-in.
Yeah, seems to be the way it is. But that's just long-term, it's gonna be a while before we see the program,
Hang on.
so.
Paul.
Cynthia, is it my understanding, it is my understanding that will be determined.
Yes, this isn't, we're not adopting
Yeah.
an official contract tonight,
Yeah.
we just are looking for a consensus,
Yep.
of which option to go with, and then the agreement will come back. And, those considerations in the toolkit, everything else will be incorporated at that time.
Yep.
But we'll take all the comments into consideration for sure.
Councilor Green.
I agree with Cynthia, I know it's coming back, that's neither here nor there. She needs to hear this so she knows what we're feeling.
Yes.
And again, as we were all saying, if we have to buy an extra bag, like if we have to pay for an extra bag, whatever that price may be, $1.75, $2, whatever they charge, that's, again, more burden on the tax people. And if some of them can't afford it now, what are they going to do when we have to when they have to pay that extra amount? And thank you, that's it.
So what's the consensus here?
Well, you'll have to call a
Just
vote.
call a vote.
Yeah.
Councilor Ron.
I just wanted to say, Your Worship, it's unfortunate, we got a reduction in our landfill operating costs if we decide to go this way, maybe we should have negotiated that landfill cost after the fact if we're gonna reduce the bags from 4 to 2. But anyway, that's hindsight now. Secondly, I'd like a recorded vote, Your Worship.
Option 2, the waste collection proposal be implemented with our service provider. All in favor?
No, you asked for a recorded.
I just thought I'd try that.
Failed.
So,
Okay.
read that for Mayor Peach.
Oh, yeah, Bear Beach. 4. Bayview 4,
Don't.
Ken Duplessis,
In favor?
Ron Duplessis,
Opposed?
Bill Foster,
In favor?
Stuart Mickelham,
4.
Bob Yocum.
4.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and 2 again.
It's carried.
Carried.
Okay, item G2, moved by Council Ron Duplessis, seconded by Council Stuart Mickelham. Be it resolved that the Public Works Department conduct a pilot project of the expansion of leaf and yard waste services.
Questions or comments? Councilor Ron.
I really like this idea. I just hope it doesn't come back to bite us. I know it's gonna be unmanned for that month in June. And I can remember some years ago when we had a gentleman in the community, and I won't say who, offered his yard for leaves. And it happened one year. He had so much garbage, it took him a month to clean it up because people just hid it under the leaves. And I hope that doesn't happen here because there's been nothing but positive support in the community when we do our weekly one down there, and we did the fall one last year. And it's well received, and I'm sure there are people that are, well, actually, I've had many people consult me already as to when it was gonna be. So I'm hoping this goes well, so it can be a program, and especially with this new recycling that's coming in, like Bob was saying there, Yoakum. You won't be able to put leaves and grass and whatever in your thing, so we're gonna have some place to put it. So,
Councilor Bob.
Yeah, I'm certainly in favor of it. There's lots of support in the community and they want it. The staff report makes the point that, you know, the option is there to extend this or terminate it early if it's abused. And I think that's one aspect of the advertising that we do about this that has to be made clear. I mean, this is, if residents want to keep this in place, then they're going to have to be part of the game plan. Yep, definitely put the game camera up and take any action that needs to be taken if the camera shows there's abuse of what we're doing. The one thing I wanted to mention though was the key, the availability of a key for the snow dump to take the large branches to. That's actually, very few people seem to know that. So maybe we need to, if we go ahead and agree to allow this extended period, there'll obviously be some advertising. Maybe we could just mention the availability of the key. Because I haven't met anybody who knew that key was there, that was available. They're sure happy when they find out.
Right.
during this pilot project, Your Worship, is not the gate going to be opened on a daily basis?
Oh, that's what I meant, Ash Lake, snow dump.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, I think when we have this though, people will be going there, not to the other.
But for items not bigger than the 12
Branches.
inches
Yeah.
in diameter, they can't go there, so
They have to go to Public Works.
Yeah, and they get the key from Dave or Joel or whatever. Any other questions or comments? Councilor Ken.
We have to make this project work.
Yeah.
We can't shut this down because there's too many people that do the leaves now and the grass. And they put it on the side of the road for the dump. It's bad enough it's gonna be legislated where we can't put organics in the dump. It'll be hard enough for the seniors who can't bring the grass out there. But so we have to, however they get it out there, and however the rest of us do it, that has to stay open. Bob's idea, it has to be cambered. We have to do that, we have to put that cost up there. And, we'll always have some garbage dumped there, there's always a minority, but we can't let the bad apples spoil
Garbage has a unique quality because if you sometimes go through a bag of garbage, you can find out who owns it and fairly quickly.
But then it got stolen, your worship.
Randy, did you have?
Don't make the excuses.
I was just wondering if we could have a presence there at maybe twice a day or something, not saying when we're gonna go, just show up.
Well, they'll be checking it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, with that in the camera, I think we're good.
Okay, Counselor King.
Just to the point, the Sudbury's been doing that for years. They recycle everything in one thing and they sell it after as compost. And it's a big, it's a moneymaker for them.
And I think, I was wondering if maybe some signs prohibiting the dumping of household waste there, a couple would hurt, just to remind people, they're not all gonna see the camera, and they're not always gonna see a public works employee there. So a couple of signs that,
A smile you're on camera sign.
Yeah, the camera sign.
yeah, you could, yeah, that would be suitable as well. Counselor Bob.
The report says they're gonna get some signage made. I like the smile you're on camera. I'm good with that one.
All right, all in favor of this motion? Carried.
Item G3, moved by Councillor Stuart McClellan, seconded by Councillor Ron Dupussy. Be it resolved that Council for the Town of Espanola hereby supports the resolution adopted by the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich regarding the government helping all wind power approvals in unwilling host communities.
Questions, comments? Counselor Bob.
I for one asked that this be put on there. I've followed this story, and this is just not fair what the province is doing to the communities that don't want them, and they're just forcing it. It's just another thing the province is taking away from the communities. We will spend $50,000 updating our official plan this year, and 80% of it is dictated by the province. They don't care about us. So that's it. And that's the only thing I have to say on the subject. Thanks.
Anyone? Counselor Stewart.
Thank you. Insofar as I appreciate what Councillor Yocum has just said, motions like this I find a little bit frustrating because there's actually no backup information to it. I don't really know what some other communities facing and things like that. I don't believe the province is coming in here and telling us to put windmills. I don't like motions like this. They're blind. They don't affect us. So I'm just gonna. That's it.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Do that again. All in favor? 4. Okay. This correspondence for information only. This information will be circulated to council. If required, a copy of the information is available at the municipal office. Mike Mantha and responded to the hydro petition. That's circulated.
Yeah.
And the conference and conventions, Phenom is on Wednesday, May the 10th through Friday, May the 12th, 2017 in North Bay, Ontario. Mayor and councillor reports and announcements. Councillor Bill.
Don't have anything?
Councillor Kent.
No, thanks.
Councillor Stewart.
Thank you. I'm not sure how to proceed with this. I am going back to Mongolia with the university, the Laurentian University, and about 28 university students to do humanitarian work. I'll be gone from about the second last week in May through June and coming back the first part of July. So I'm not sure if I should put notice of motion in for a leave of absence or simply allow this to act as a notice of leave of absence. I'm not sure. I'm seeking direction, but regardless, that's my intention.
I'm prepared to look at it as a notice of motion right now.
Yeah, we can look at it as a motion.
Right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we need a motion for,
You don't have to, but if that's how Council
I
McLeod
didn't
wants to
think
do
we
it.
had to, sure.
But if that's how Council McLeod wants to do it, that's fine. So then council, well, obviously I'll need a copy of it
Sure.
at a later time. But council, if council chooses, they can vote to, to hear the motion, like vote on it and then hear it tonight, or you can vote on it at the next meeting,
Yeah, so-
Next.
I'll move to have Stuart get his leave of absence.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Guess that answered that question.
Yeah.
that's good.
So you have to vote.
Vote.
So,
You have to still.
All in favor? Carried.
Thank you. That's it for these. Thank you.
Councilor Ron.
I have a question. We got an email about possibly some funding for Venture, we're sending it to the federal, and we were looking at a project. Is that the one at the west end of town? Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
The WWF fund, and
Yeah.
that was to get the next phase of engineering work done for our water system, Catherine and.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought it was for, but I just wanted to be sure. Thank you. I don't know, maybe I could leave this with Bob, who's on community services. I go down to the cemetery every now and then. And I know when we were at Phenom last year, Bill and I, yourself, your worship, in Sudbury, there was, or I guess it was the year before, we got a brochure about, and I don't know what you call it, a vault or whatever, for cremains, when people are cremated.
Oh.
Instead of taking up.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And-
Above ground.
and it's like these community mailboxes in theory, they're nice, they're presentable. The cremains go in there, there's a locked vault door or whatever, the tag is on the outside, and I'll tell you, you can put a whole pile in a small area rather than filling up a cemetery. I know we still got room there, but we've, over the years, had to purchase land from Domtar to expand our cemetery. Someday they may say no, and
Yep.
we'd have to look someplace else. I think it would be something worthwhile looking at. I think I mentioned it when we come back that time, but it never went any further. But maybe Bobby's on community service, and that falls under
Yeah,
that.
we'll take a look at
I would
that.
like to see something like that, to save space in our cemetery, and I think it's a nice place for people to go. I don't know what the cost would be to put one in, but it saves headstones and all the rest, because you got a nice plaque on your door. I'm ready to go.
Over again.
I'm totally familiar
Don't
with
be
it.
too anxious. I'm sure all of us have heard the news about the Americans putting us off with lumber. I'm sorry to see that. We knew it was coming for months. It maybe not as bad as it could have been, but it's not good. And we, as the northern community, we have a lot of people that depend on jobs here from forestry, and we know it's going to cost jobs. And it'll probably be years before it settles. So that's upsetting. The other thing, I heard that the breakfast on Sunday was a success. I also heard there was one local business that gave quite a sizable donation. I won't say who it is because it's none of my place to do that. But it's nice when you see business people step up and do things like that. And without mentioning their name, I think they should be really commended.
Right.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Councilor Bob?
Just a couple of things, Your Worship, thank you. I think I mentioned it at Community Services, I'm sure you're gonna take care of it. Special thanks to both the Lions and the local Tim Hortons franchisee, because thanks to them, in March, there were over 1,000 free swims provided to residents, and I'm sure that was well appreciated given the March weather. And of course, Hazardous Waste Day is this Saturday. And I see our volunteer firefighters are again this year going to provide that great service and provide home inspections, which is, having seen them do one home, I'm glad they did, because they caught several things in that home that were very important and later turned out to be really important. So, thank you.
I got 2 letters for the twins and stuff like that on
Oh,
my desk right now.
Thank you, perfect.
I'd like to mention one, a certificate was presented to the volunteer firefighters for an amazing thing that they did. Firefighters have been supporting those affected with muscular dystrophy since 1954 and continue to be our most important revenue source. The Espanola firefighters have been involved since 1971, and to date, these heroes have raised a total of $69,713.63. And I think that can be applauded. That is a great work they're doing it for muscular dystrophy.
Maybe we could send them something from council recognizing their efforts, Your Worship.
Yes, we will. All right. Regular meeting of council is hereby adjourned. All in favor? Carried.